Hi everyone. So again, I'm here with the lovely Patricia Hogan Hussain from St Mary's in Bognor Regis, who is a Simply Changing coach, as we know. She's an amazing coach and she's an amazing teacher. And through lockdown, of course, we've been on this personal quest to develop the nation's thinking processes so that we're developing curious minds. Patricia, how has your week been?
Yeah, really good, thank you. I was at school yesterday. Best thing ever. We had a Zoom call with my whole class, and it was brilliant. It was really, really lovely. The highlight of my lockdown, I'd say. It was so lovely. They were so excited. So 30 children, all little heads on a screen, all shouting and saying hello, hello. And I think they love to see each other too. So that was great.
Oh, that is amazing. So, how did the learning process go when you were on Zoom with 30 children? You have to mute them all.
It took me 10 minutes to find the mute all button in a half an hour call. But that was a good moment. I said, right, I'm muting you all. They were very excited. It took them about a second to find, after I'd done that, to find the message facility. So they were all messaging each other. It was coming up on my screen. It was very, very joyous. I don't think there was a lot of learning. I tried to do a little English activity with them. That was a disaster. But they loved seeing each other. And I think it made them realise, from what I've heard today, how much they miss each other. So we're doing it again. It will become a weekly thing and hopefully a bit more. But it was brilliant. It was so to see all the names coming up, and they were in the room waiting, and I didn't know that so many would be able to do it and join in, but most of the class managed to do it. So it was brilliant.
Oh, isn't that amazing? Well done, well done. Thank you for that, Patricia. Keeping everybody going. Was there much learning had, or was it just lots of fun?
Lots of fun. Only no learning. Perhaps from a technology perspective, that myself and the parents all learnt something, but loads of fun too.
And also good for the parents to see how much school means to them and how much their school friends mean to them and how much you mean to them. That would be really lovely, because I'm guessing all the parents were with the children at that time too.
Yeah.
Lovely thing. We're getting a very unique opportunity, aren't we, to recognise what's important to us, what our values are in life. It's quite astounding, really, isn't it? This opportunity that we are getting.
It is, yeah. We're like you say, finding out what's important, and we're doing things that we never thought we'd be able to do. It's amazing what you can do.
It is amazing what you can do when given very little of anything. It's amazing what you can cobble together. And what I've loved about the work that you and I have been doing is that all of the lessons are inspired by what you can do in the home or the garden environment, and very limited resources educationally, because everything in the home is about play and living. It's been just great, and we're still enjoying it. You've got 4 activities for us today, Patricia.
Based on spelling.
All based on spelling. Good point. Very, very good point. So talk us through this one.
So again, this is something you might have around at home. Sometimes you might be able to dig out. The children have little sets with stampers, letter stampers. I remember my children always had them. Obviously, they're a lovely thing to use to help with spelling, but you don't always have to stamp on paper. And maybe you can't find the ink pad for anything like me, or they've run out of the ink thing. I think this is this kinesthetic sands that you can get, but you could do this on Play-Doh. You could make up with flour and water, and if you've got food colouring hiding around, some of your own sort of Play-Doh, and just stamp out words. Start with their name, and then going on to whatever spellings it is that they're going to be learning, or words around them. They could stamp it out on there, and it's very physical, and it's very practical, and it's lots of fun too.
And again, very tactile, very kinesthetic, so very much about engaging with that learning. This looks like texturally, it looks like it would be lovely to get your hands and you think, you know, this pink stuff in your fingernails, and can imagine what it smells like. I imagine it smells like Play-Doh. So already my senses are going. I love the colours, the green and the red, and then I'm quite trying to work out how the stamps work. Are they an indentation, or are they, are the T's sort of standing proud of the block? All of that could be just such a textural and kinesthetic, a very concrete way of learning, and great for bringing in that creative mind, you know, the right hemisphere of our brains, as well as the logical left hemisphere of the great brain. So great for whole brain activities. Love it. What's this next one here where it says people?
So similar to one we looked at the other day, and it's just using baking powder. So again, something that you'd have at home, or flour, possibly if you can get any. So spread out on the tray, possibly sand. But again, imagine how that feels, actually doing the spelling, doing the letters. So yeah, so hopefully something you've got in your cupboard might lend itself to doing this with.
So the previous one on a previous day was soap or shaving foam on a tray or a piece of card or something, or even a work surface in the kitchen, where you were able to draw out with your finger a word. I think we used the word "the," and this one is equally valid. It's just showing that you can use many different many different substances, I suppose. Maybe not that holy table that it's sat upon.
No.
Although, do you know what? If you sprinkled flour over the top of that, but you get a great pattern.
Pattern, yeah.
Fantastic. Let's move on to the next activity, which is rolling rainbow spelling. What's this all about?
So this is just about making this spelling visual. So taking a word that your child is learning to spell and having a game with it. So you can throw a dice. Always remember, if you don't have dice, Google online dice, and they're incredible. Online rolling dice, extremely helpful all the time. Roll a dice, and then depending on what number you get, they write the word in a different colour. You could add to that, you know, write the word as small as you can, write the word as long as you can, write the word diagonally. You can make it whatever you like, but it's taking a word that they're trying to learn and writing it in all these different ways, making a game of it to help them get a visual picture of their word.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. So combinations of different things there, and this is just about engaging, isn't it, with playing and testing ourselves. Can we write this word twice? Can we write it in orange? What can we do? And how we can use our different senses to expand, you know, the repetition of a word. We didn't have any of this when I was a child. So the repetition of a word was writing it under the word in a pen or a pencil. I think a pencil, but not a coloured pencil, and not with gay abandon, which I think is which is fantastic. All that lovely creativity. Thank you for that. What's this? Let me see. There we go. The fourth activity you've got for us today looks very tasty.
This is about breaking a word down into syllables. So, for example, you've got banana, which has 3 syllables in. So, the first thing I think we ever do with syllables, no matter what age you're teaching, is get everyone to work out how many syllables are in their own name. That's hugely popular from reception to year 6, and then they can clap out their name and how many syllables they've got. So for banana, it will be banana. So we have competitions, who has the most syllables, who has the least syllables. And then when they are learning spellings, you're saying how many syllables can we break it down into? Can we clap it? Can we stamp it to see how the word sounds? And then when they come to write a word, one of the questions in their head could be, how many syllables does it have? Let me say it, let me clap it, let me work it out. So then they're able to break the word down.
How do you get across to a young person what a syllable actually is? Because we hear it and we know it from what we hear, but how do they get to that point of understanding?
Really through, I think, lots of practice of breaking the word down. So you mean, you hear it's done quite nicely visually for them. So you could cut a word. So definitely sound, first of all,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So clapping it helps, and
Yeah.
stamping it, like I said.
Mm.
And then you can tie that into actually breaking that word up into those syllables.
Mm. That's fascinating when you think about it. But again, there's a excuse me, it's about the feeling of it. It's about the sound and the pace of it, isn't it? And the clapping of it supports that. But again, it's very kinesthetic. So it's auditory kinesthetic, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm guessing you're doing that initially by sound rather than by the word in front of you.
Yeah.
Is that right? Or would you have the word in front of you and then say, how many individual sounds are there in this word banana?
I think when you're teaching it, you start with how does it sound. So they're listening to words and how it sounds. But then when they understand what syllables are, using that to help them understand how a word looks and how it could be broken up, could then be quite visual.
Totally, and this reinforces that, doesn't it? So it's almost like you can enter this game at any level. If you haven't got a word that happens to be cut into 3 or 4, dependent on the syllables, you can do it in terms of the clapping game with sounds. So maybe you could do that around the table at dinner time and say, what are we eating today? Potato. How many syllables in potato, and clap that through.
Yeah.
So you could use all of the, periodically throughout the day, you could just spring up with a question. How many syllables in tea? How many syllables in orange juice? And then, wait until you've got all that lovely engagement. If you make learning fun like that, they're going to be anticipating the next quiz that they're asked by their parent, aren't they? Which is what parents can do with the learning process, make it fun and enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember my two when they were little, when you do things like that. Ask me another one, ask me another one. And but as we know, it's the best way to learn, little
Yeah.
bite-sized bits every now and again.
Yeah, it really is. And my niece was exactly the same. She wanted to be tested. She would swing off the bedstead at the bottom of the bed first thing in the morning and say, ask me another question from your head. Tell me another story from your head. Test me on another question. So she would be up for it. She was like a little learning machine. And she's, super bright. And she ended up with a first at university. So how fantastic is that? Engendering a playful learning culture in our brains, like a little culture that's beginning to grow and grow and grow. Fantastic. Patricia, thank you so much. What a lovely set of 4 activities. Another really super duper set of exercises for us to do with our children at home. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you soon, everyone. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.